thought I was good. Got my first handicap of 27, so I wasn't, because golf is difficult and changing your swing is even harder. Actually, I'm hitting it better than this guy. Then I panicked because I knew what I'd signed myself up for. And Thomas Bjorn sent me a message saying, don't make a fool of yourself. And I wanted, hopefully, at the end of it, for him to maybe go, oh, he was all right player.
Right, Robert, thanks for joining us on Monthly Meets. Appreciate
Pleasure.
it. You've been back in the news this year with your US Open qualification. You've had a couple of months to sort of reflect on that now, that period. What are your reflections on it and that sort of couple of weeks of golf?
Well, it was a brilliant experience. It was something I obviously hadn't planned on doing at all this year. I retired in 22, and I would have liked to have retired but still play the odd event, but that wasn't possible. So I played a qualifier and I got in, which I didn't think I'd get in that at all. But the point of the qualifier was just getting me to play amongst a great field, it's always a great field at Walton Heath and at the Open qualifiers. So it was a chance to see where my game was at after a couple of years out. Played with a good pal, James Morrison, and we had a good day.
Yeah.
We both played well. I played better than I thought I was going to. Well, actually putted better than I thought I was going to. Actually, I was hit the ball pretty similar to how I do if I put a little bit of practice in. And then that took me to Pinehurst, which of all US Open venues now, that's
Was that right up there for you?
It's the best tournament I've ever been to.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
I was really surprised. I'd not been a massive fan of American golf events up to that point. Played 2 US Opens before that, and they're just hard. But Pinehurst was different. Pinehurst is I can see how vast that area is and how many great golf courses there are, and how just a golfing area, right, with great weather. So it's difficult to not like it. And it was a really, really tough test, which I wish I'd been able to try when I was playing my best. I mean, I played really well the first day, but I wasn't tournament practiced for playing 72 holes is hard, right? And I sort of forgot a little bit of how demanding a full week's major tournament is. And I was exhausted. So after the first round, I just had very little left in the tank for the second day. Second day was even hotter. Course was a little bit firmer, but the golf I played between the 2 days was so similar. One was level par, which felt like 6 or 7 under par.
Yeah.
And the second day ended up being 9 over, which felt like only 2 or 3 shots worse, right? But obviously a lot worse, but still a great experience to have played another major.
Yeah, and obviously that wasn't part of the plan initially. It was sound like the qualification was
I don't recommend trying a major after 2 years out. Like, it's not the smartest thing in the world to do.
That's why I'm always so surprised, right? Because you did the qualification sort of on a whim, I guess, a little bit, have a little knock,
absolutely, yeah,
and you happened to fall into it.
Yeah, then I panicked.
Then you
because I knew what I'd signed myself up for, right? And you're 2 years out playing against the best players on a really hard course, you can make yourself look a bit daft. And Thomas Bjorn sent me a message saying, don't make a fool of yourself. Right?
That's what you want to hear, isn't it?
That was Thomas saying, well done, I think, in a way. And then I thought, yeah, he's right. So I panic practiced for 3 weeks and managed to get 1 decent round in. So I was quite happy with that.
Well, it was brilliant, and it was great to watch. And so it's come off the back of that retirement you spoke about. We've seen a lot of great athletes and other people retire from sport recently. Andy Murray fairly recently. And I just want to sort of get into your mind about the retirement process. Like, where did the decision come from? How long did it take you to decide that? And why? And what's the transition like from professional sport to not doing that?
That's a good question. It was more timing in life rather than me saying that my golf game wasn't up to it anymore. It was based around my son. He's now 16, but he was 14 when I chose to stop completely. But in the previous years, I was slowing down, trying to play every other week so that I could be at home and take him to his football, because he's a really keen footballer. And we've been going to Chesterfield now, which is part of their academy. We've been going there for 4 years. So it was trying to slow down enough that I could do that, but then the football training gets more and more intense, and I needed to be there all the time.
Yeah.
So I decided to put I thought when he got to the sort of 15 age group, that'd be when it gets a bit more serious and can't afford to miss anything. So I thought that's a good time to stop. And the COVID time gave me a little bit of a break that I needed, because I did nearly 20 years straight. So that gave us everyone the little bit of time at home, didn't we, thinking about stuff. And it also gave me a rest, because I'd actually really hurt my thumb, my left thumb, and I was battling through that. And then that period allowed it to heal. So I started that back up quite fresh. And then I think we overplayed during COVID. We played nearly every week, didn't we? And that sort of made me want to tone it down a bit. So yeah, I decided 22 was time to stop.
I'm sure during that COVID period, golf wasn't that much fun. It was the perks weren't there that you were having when you're normally on tour. And there's crowds and there's everything that comes with an event.
All the cool bits disappeared.
Yeah, so it's sort of like maybe we'll take a rest there then. And how are you finding it then? How have you found that transition into not playing professionally?
It's difficult.
Yeah,
difficult. Every time I see people now that are retiring from sport early, I fully understand what they're probably going to go through in the next year or two. My first year, I panicked and sort of threw myself into almost everything to try and fill the time and feel like I was busy, which I shouldn't have done. And now I think I've found a little bit better balance in what I'm doing. But it's what gets you out of bed every morning.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And I didn't want to. I'm not very good at sitting around doing nothing. So, and I really enjoyed hitting balls. I really enjoyed practicing, and I'm glad I finished without actually really disliking golf.
Yeah, you've not fell out of love with the sport at all.
No,
really
so I'm really, really grateful that I actually managed to call time on it a little bit early, keep some of the interest there.
Yeah.
And now I still hit balls when I can, and try and play the odd little 1 or 2 day event. But yeah, still like playing. So
well, that's good. And we'll come on to sort of what you're doing now and the future for you in a little bit. But I want to take you right back. When did you first pick up a golf club and why? And at what point in your youth did you realise that golf in some guise was going to be your career?
I think I just picked up some old clubs that I found in our shed at home. I didn't even know what they were actually. I think one was probably a putter.
Yeah.
It didn't look like much of a putter, but it was a putter, and I think the other one might have been a 9 or a 6 iron. And I think I can remember not knowing which way around the number was supposed to be. Right?
That's a good.
That's about right. Yeah. So started with those, and then there was a few people in my area played. Wasn't my family's game; they didn't play.
Okay.
But I had some friends that played. We had a local course at the town. Played a bit. That was just a 9-hole par 3 course. Actually, no, sorry, it was a 9-hole, but it was a short course. Had 3s and 4s.
Yeah.
Played that for a year or more. Joined a club at 13. Thought I was good. Got my first handicap at 27, so I wasn't.
That comes down quickly, though, you know.
Yeah, and then a few years later, I was down to sort of 5 handicap, and got on well with the assistant pros. And they told me what the PGA training was all about and what standard you needed to be to start that.
Yes.
And then that's when it became clear, well, this is something I can actually do. It might not mean that I make money out of actually playing golf and winning competition money, but I could be a club pro, I could be a teaching pro. So then that route was pretty obvious.
Yeah, and that was something that appealed to you then, forgetting obviously the tour stuff that came later that probably wasn't part of the plan initially, teaching and coaching the game, something that appealed to you pretty quickly.
I hadn't had a coach up to that point, give or take a few little maybe county lessons or the assistant pros helping me out, but physically didn't have a permanent coach because that just wasn't an option. So I studied a lot of the game. I read as much as I could at that point, and I would always try and, probably annoyingly so, pass that little bits that I thought I'd figured out onto my mates who were playing with, right? So
I was the start of your teaching.
I was that fella, that was doing that. But that made me think that, well, I quite like figuring stuff out and trying, seeing if it works for other people, because that's different. If something works for me doesn't necessarily work for you, and trying to find the link of all those things was quite interesting. So I knew I could be a coach, or I could try to be a coach, let's put it that way. And I knew I could be a club pro.
Yeah. So, you know, you're one of the few sort of people who went through that route and then made it onto the tour. Why do you think so few sort of actually have that breakthrough? And what kind of advice would you give to the people doing that course right now, or yourself back in the day, to help that push through that extra little bit?
I was always desperately searching ways to make my golf better. I think I had written off a playing career because I wasn't as good as some of the key players at my age group. So, but I was interested enough to just keep studying and practicing.
Yeah.
And when you're working in golf, initially you don't get time. So you're in the shop or you're teaching and you don't have time to practice. So my game took a little bit of a backseat for a while, even though I was still always reading and trying to find out more info. I didn't have time to play or practice. And then when I became qualified, and I became self-employed, then the whole world's your own, isn't it? It's how much you put into it. And I was able to coach at certain times in the day and then practice the rest of the day. And I practiced from that point onwards. I was probably, what would I have been? I think I was around 19, 20. I practiced every hour I could find.
Yeah,
it's
constant.
I hit millions of balls.
Yeah, you've hit so many
balls. Yeah, and I just kept getting better and better and kept winning different things in the assistant pros game or in the Midlands pros, which we're at now. And then there was some good players in the Midlands that were ex-tour players, and I just started to gauge my game off those, and then I got my chance to play in tour events, and it went well. Now that was the key part, is those went well.
Yeah.
It's not your ideal route to the tour, right? And it's not one I don't think, if you're serious about playing the tour, you should really chase, because it's too difficult. But I hadn't got real dreams of playing the tour at that point. I just played well, qualified for these events, and then I played well in these events because I was really prepared for them, and things went my way. But having a serious mind on tournaments, you've got to go through mini tours, tour school, challenge tour, DP World Tour, play your way through. Right.
So, just touching on that then, and your sort of the way you learned the game and were taught the game. I saw you saying in another interview that you used to collect golf magazines and read them religiously, Golf Monthly included.
Yes.
So thank you for reading that back in the day.
You're welcome. I bought
sure
a lot
you
of
still
those.
do now.
Well, my mum bought me a lot of those.
Yeah.
I had a mountain of them.
And so, you know, would you call yourself a real student of the game? Did you always have that sort of thirst for knowledge on the swing, of how the game works, the intricacies of it all? Was that always a little sort of bug in your mind?
Yeah, it was. I think I was fascinated by the swing, and golf magazines were really the only access point at that time. Right? So you do your little pieces where you were chatting to people about their swings, or you do the swing sequences in the magazines, which the ones that I liked I sort of saved in particular magazines, and I built a whole little, my own sort of volumes of magazines that were the bits that I liked, whether it had been Faldo, Seve, Woosnam, David Ledbetter. What else would there have been? Like Greg Norman. Just all your features on the players that I liked how they played. And then you try and find some common ground, which is a lot easier these days. But doing it from magazine pictures was hard. So I loved it.
That's it, isn't it? That's why I always thought you were a bit of a student of it. You clearly enjoyed that. Obviously nowadays we've got YouTube, the internet, thousands of sources for golf swings.
It's too easy now.
Yeah, right? Too easy.
Too easy.
Would you have used YouTube? I've got two questions here. Would you have used YouTube back in the day?
Absolutely. It would saved me years.
It saved years of sort of, you know, archiving stuff. But do you think it's a good, useful resource, as good as it was back in the day, if not better?
It's better because everything's on there. It's on your phone. You can go through it slowly, and you can see the missing gaps that in your original swing sequences there'd be big chunks missing because
from the swing sequences in the magazines.
Because the cameras wouldn't pick them out, or you wouldn't be able to publish I don't know, like a 30 frame sequence, would you? It'd take up too many pages.
Swing,
exactly. So, but the YouTube and slow-mo video that everyone's got on their phones now makes it so easy, and all the bits that I figured out for myself are now pretty much on YouTube or on your phones for free.
You did the hard work.
I feel like I did. I probably would have liked to have. No, I'm just probably wrong to say I wouldn't have liked to have done that, because that's what really got my interest every day.
It's part of it, and I think it's with anything,
Yeah.
any hobby or interest you have. It's
I wouldn't be in this
searching.
point now if I hadn't have done that.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
So, where does your philosophy on the golf swing come from? Who are the sort of coaches and the sort of people in the swing thoughts that you latched onto early doors and have kept throughout your career?
It was probably a combination of all those people that I mentioned and more. Some random swings that I think, well, that's interesting. That looks good. Why does that look good to me? Right? And I think simplicity is the best thing. Trying to remove. I wanted what I was searching for, I think, when I was younger, was a standard golf swing.
Right,
and there wasn't one.
A blueprint.
Yeah, like, because everyone had their own little bits that they put in that make their swing look like them. And I wanted to compare mine to something, and I didn't know what that was. And I felt like there was something, or there ought to be something there, a bit more basic than, or a bit more human than just a golf robot, right? I thought there must be someone somewhere that is close to what we might eventually say is the easiest way to swing a club. So that's all I was looking for, and trying to strip out the little bits from each pro player that I think maybe didn't add too much, but that was just unique to them, and they trying to find a lot of common ground, really. That's all I was trying to do.
I mean, you're quite regarded as having one of the better swings in the game. You know, do you think that yourself? Are you always trying to work on bits? And where have you pieced your swing together from over the years?
It's from that. And if you'd say that you like my swing, and my swing was just my swing, and that was just how I hit balls and how I'd always hit balls, I'd take that as a compliment. But I wouldn't actually say that was a particular great swing as such. But I feel like my swing I've put together purposely, so it has to be what I want. Right, it would make no sense, would it, to build something that I didn't like, right? So I like mine because I put each bit together, and I know how long it's took me and how hard it's been, and it's not been easy, and I don't find hardly any of it easy, because golf is difficult, and changing your swing is even harder. So it's a mixture of all great players, all bits that I think just make golf shots look simpler, and it isn't perfect. And if I could keep hitting balls as much as I had done in the past, I think I'd probably add just a couple more bits to it, but I can't do my swing as fast as I used to. I would like to put my swing up now with the speed I might have had in my early 20s, and then I think that would be something that I'd really, really like, and I would be more content with. But it's just took a long time, and then your body starts to give way a little.
Body says no, not anymore, mate.
Body's certainly saying no at the moment. Yeah.
So obviously you enjoy the teaching side of it. You know, is that, you know, the actual act of teaching yourself, taking golf out of it, passing on knowledge, helping others out, is that something you've always sort of enjoyed and sought to do, or is it the golf that brings you there first?
Yeah, it's the golf. Yeah, it's the golf. I'd like to be able to help people that are as keen as I am or was at any stage. So whether they're just starting, but I can tell they're really keen and they want to learn stuff fast, or whether it's a pro that really is frustrated by something that they can't seem to change. Those are the bits that I find interesting, and hopefully some of the bits that I've got that I've learned, and the movements that I've managed to practice and understand can just help somebody quickly, right? That's what I want. I don't want to give lessons to say I'll go away and practice for a month and it should work. I want to see some pretty instantaneous changes if I can get them right.
Yeah, there and
that's
then.
The test for me.
Yeah.
Can I get it right straight away?
Yeah.
And change this guy's swing so that he changes what he doesn't like and starts hitting better shots.
Yeah, on the spot.
And that doesn't always mean lower scores, does it? But if I can change how somebody hits the ball straight away, then I feel like that they've probably gained something from coming to see me.
And who in the modern game right now do you think has one of the best swings, either aesthetically or just sort of mechanically?
Everyone.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Everyone's got a good
swing.
They're at that level, so it doesn't matter to you.
That's the beauty of how things have changed, right?
Like
Everyone's got the access to everything, and if you haven't got a good swing, you ain't got much hope, I don't think, these days, right? Because there's thousands of people that got great swings, right? So all coaches are getting more towards a standardized, ideal looking swing, I think. It's easy to find the errors or the faults, and it's easier now to put them together. So very rarely see a pro with a bad looking swing these days, especially on the tours.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and even people watching amateur golfers at home, if they're getting around and they're enjoying the game,
yeah,
and they're scoring how they want to score, that's a good swing to you in a way, you know.
Yeah.
That swing your swing kind of vibe.
If you're
something you subscribe to.
Most people nowadays can hit drivers pretty well.
Yeah.
Right. Our young juniors can all hit drivers well. Quite often now, the starters that are kind enough to start all the kids off say, watched all day and didn't see any bad drives. And you don't, right? Because the driver's easy, right? His driver's easy.
Everyone can whack a driver.
Basically, yeah, because you've only got to get it airborne, hit it somewhere on the face. It goes a reasonable way, doesn't it? So that part isn't really the skill anymore. But yeah.
So before we start wrapping up and talk about the future and why we're here today, back to the sort of the heyday of your career, I guess, that 2010 to 2012 period, tied 7th at the 2010 Open, won the Italian Open, beat Tiger at the HSBC Championship in 2012. What about your game in that couple of years was firing so well to allow you to be so successful? Was there something in particular?
My iron play was really, really good.
Yeah.
That was the bit I tried to build, and in from 2005 to 2008 was where I really sort of rejigged my swing a little bit, and that's where I hit the most balls. And that's the period in 2008 I started to feel like I'm hitting some really nice shots here, and I understand what I'm doing, and my iron play is getting really good, and my short game and putting wasn't really as good as it probably is now. Actually, it's probably better now, but my iron play was good. I used to hit it close, like almost to inside 3 feet a couple of times around.
Yeah.
Whether that be with a medium to short iron, but I used to count on that, and that was how I put my rounds together. And from 2008 onwards, my confidence just got better and better with how I was playing, and I started to like how I was playing, right, which I didn't before, and that was important. I started to feel like I was a pro.
So was that like a mindset thing? Like you didn't feel like you quite a bit of imposter syndrome sort of thing? Didn't feel like I belonged there, or
no,
didn't feel like I could go and get over the line?
Trying to win tournaments.
Right.
I felt like I was on the tour and I could probably stay on the tour, but I was in that lower part of it where you're really looking at the order of merit at the end of the year to see if you kept your card. That was difficult.
Yeah.
I didn't want to stay there because it was taking a lot of work, a lot of travelling, not earning loads of money, doing okay, but nothing that was probably I couldn't earn actually just staying put. So, but from 2008, I started to feel some signs where actually I'm hitting it better than this guy. He's winning tournaments.
Right.
My time might come. And then that progressed into having chances to win, messing up in the final round or final 2 rounds, but continuing to play really good golf.
So that 2012 event, HSBC Championship, you played with Tiger. I saw in an interview you said, sort of going into that at the time, you were like, if anything, I'm going to have a front row seat here to a Tiger Woods round of golf and potentially a win, right? Was that always, we just sort of touched on it there though, was that your mindset of being the underdog slightly in those situations, and was that something you sort of revelled in?
In other tournaments, even the tournament before that, I played really well and felt like I had a chance to win and was pushing myself. I'd won a tournament in Italy a few months before.
Yeah.
Albeit that didn't have the same sort of marquee players as the Abu Dhabi one did, but I was getting closer, and I'd got to 20 under par, which was a milestone for me.
Right. That's a big number.
That's a big number, isn't it? Right. And lots of tournaments get to 20 under, but you've got to get to 20 under.
You've got to be there.
You've got to get there,
You've
right?
got to be the one that gets it.
Yeah, and that means playing well 4 days, holding putts for 4 days, keeping your scoring boots on, not slowing down, not 18 pars in your last round, don't do it, right? So, but then Abu Dhabi came along, and I knew I was playing all right. I actually played one of my best rounds on the Saturday before I played with Tiger, and I just wanted to play okay on Sunday so that I wasn't in the way or didn't feel in the way. I wanted to watch him do his thing, and I wanted, hopefully, at the end of it, for him to maybe go, "Oh, he was all right player."
That was your goal going into
Pretty
it.
much.
Yeah.
Pretty much, just not make a hash of it. And could I take everything that I'd learned up to that point, like being on my own, hitting balls on my own, building my swing that I liked, could I actually trust it and get it to work under that sort of pressure, which was something I'd never felt before.
That's mad. What a sort of, everything's led to this moment kind of feeling, right? All you'd done, all the balls you'd hit, the swing you'd built.
Wasn't
to a final
interested
round.
in winning.
No,
not
you were just wanting to do.
And you shouldn't be, right?
And that's probably, if you do, you might not going to perform as well, sort of thing.
I guess the people that were much better ranked than me, if you're a top 10 player in the world and you're playing with Tiger Woods, you're trying to prove a point, aren't you?
You're right, yeah.
And you're trying to see how am I good enough. No, I didn't think for a second that was my approach. My approach was just see if you can play your golf, right?
Yeah.
See where that puts you. Right? It might put you. Hopefully, I can still perform a decent round, and I honestly didn't care where I finished.
And that worked though, didn't it? And so was that quite gratifying to go in with that mindset and just to go, I just want to do what I've done, go through the process I've done for all these years. In this situation, how gratifying was that to then actually get over the line at the end of it?
I basically just wanted to play the first few holes well, settle into it, right? You know what I mean? And not just ruin the day with all the people watching, think, and have people go, "Oh, he's just crumbled straight away," right? I didn't want to be that fella.
Yeah.
And then, but the first few holes, I played brilliant. I was 3 ahead after 6, and then I thought, this is too good now not to finish this off.
So was it at that point you went, okay, let's forget the mindset from the first tee. We've had a good start.
I've got 3 shots on him. Let's see if I can give him a good run to the end. I still expected to lose, right? But I thought, right, I'm going to be neck and neck with him on the back 9, and that is just priceless. Yeah. So I kept waiting and waiting for this big moment, that he always did, where he would chip in or hole a long putt or something, and it just didn't happen. Might be one of the only occasions he played in the lead in the final round in the final group and didn't actually do something like that. So I felt very lucky. Right, I hit some magic shots right at the end, and there was 2 iron shots that. So I started off the round trying to think, can I actually just hit a normal drive, get it on the fairway, right? A bit as basic as that, and then I got, can I hit a wedge off this tight lie and not duff it and look like a whatever. And I got through that process thinking, right, I can actually hit balls now. I'm all right. I'm comfortable. I can tick along today and be okay. And then I'm 3 ahead after 6. And then I think I lost one shot early on in the back 9, maybe the 12th or 13th. But anyway, on the 14th, I just hit one of my best fairway bunker shots ever the best fairway bunker shot I've ever hit, to 15 foot with a 7 iron. Just struck absolutely perfect. I'll never forget the feeling. I'm still over it thinking, I haven't had one of those. Can I hit this properly? And I struck it, not just like clean or no, I just hit it perfect.
That one where you doesn't feel like you've hit it kind of flush.
This is the moment where I'll just determine whether I've got a chance of winning this or not. Because it could, it was a nice shot, but it could have come down a little short in the bunker, could have gone over the green, and it come down 15 foot away. I thought, right, I've got to hold that. Yeah. And now I've got a really good chance. And then the 15th, I hit an even better shot with a 5 iron, which landed pretty much within a couple of yards as well. I was trying to land it. My standard sort of faded iron shot at the time. And as soon as I started my downswing, I knew I'd hit a good shot. And that's the
that's when you know you're dialed in.
The best feeling from hitting all the balls my whole life.
Yeah.
I knew this is good.
So it sounds like then you did have my next question was, did you have a chance during that back 9 to enjoy it, to take it in, to realise I'm going toe to toe with Tiger Woods here in a pretty big tournament?
I totally enjoyed that bit.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah. And then
that's great though.
Even hitting those shots, I still have to hold the putts.
Of course.
Putting wasn't my area at all.
So was that a little sometimes a bit?
I felt like I was in control early on with how I was hitting it, but I didn't know whether I was going to hold putts.
Yeah.
So those 2 iron shots, they still had 15, 20 foot putts to hole, which I could have easily missed. I could have 3-putted them.
Yeah.
The way I've putted in my life, right? But I hold both of them, and that put me right in it. And I was still expecting an eagle on the last or whatever.
Just didn't come.
Just didn't come, no.
But what a crowning achievement for your career then. Would you have said overall I think I've got your starts down here, but I can't see in the sun. 465 events over 25 years.
Yeah.
Would you have said what you've come out with at the other end was an overachieving career, an underachieving career, or something about right?
If you take that one day out, I'd have been really disappointed.
That day capped it all off. Wow, that's huge. It's a nice way to reflect on it, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
actually,
feel lucky that I grafted for that long and got. The game gives you stuff in random times, and
that was your moment,
and you don't know what you're going to get, do you?
Yeah.
But I got that out of it.
Brilliant. And so, like I said, 465 starts on the tour, European tour, sort of journeyman, I guess, absolute warhorse for the tour. Were you sort of like a proud European Tour member, and what's your reflection on the way it's developed now into the DP World Tour and how it now sits in the sort of hierarchy of professional golf?
Yeah, I always call myself a European Tour player. I'm not a massive fan of the name change, but such is life in it, and not overly proud of what's going on with pro golf at the moment.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of a little bit glad that I've been out of the chats on the range. Must be tedious every week now, so I'm not involved in that, and that's quite a good thing. Where it all sits, I have no idea, and it's way above my head to sort that out.
And you know, if I were to give you the war chest, and I could put it all out in front of you, professional golf.
Yeah.
Have you had a thought on how you might like to see it work? Is there something that you want to see happen, either reversing what's happened recently or back to the way it was? Is there something you've seen that I'd do that, or are you just sort of trying to keep away?
Not bothered.
Keep away.
Yeah. They're doing a good job messing it all up on their own. I don't need to get involved in that. It was cool when I started. I loved the job when I started, and I loved it all the way through till probably, I don't know, 2015, 16-ish. And I think when the European Tour got its Rolex series off the ground, and we missed stars coming to play. Yeah. And it was sad that we had to keep paying them to turn on. But I think that's just sport, isn't it? So yeah.
So lastly then, Robert, we spoke about your retirement and how that's all been. What's the future for you now? We're at the Belfry today. It's the final Robert Rock Junior Tour. How's that come about? What's it all about? And how do you see it going forward and your kind of involvement in it?
So it's something I wanted to do always, really, but trying to put good events on while I was playing the tour was pretty impossible. Yeah. So Natalie Haywood, who's a PGA golf pro she was from Derby at the time, she approached me and said, could she run a few trial junior events, which I said, absolutely, let's see what we can do. So 7 years later, we've now got, we had 25 events. Yeah. We started doing international ones, we're doing world ranking ones, we're doing mini tour events, which is basically putting the tees halfway down the fairway and getting driving range kids to come and have a taste.
I was say, what's the age range of people that play?
It's everything. We've had
everything
from like 5 upwards to.
Oh wow.
We will be doing under 21s next year. Yeah. And then because of the places that I was going to whilst Natalie was running this, I managed to tee up places like this and some other great courses that we go to. And I wanted the juniors to have a taste of playing great courses with a load of other juniors of all different standards, and feel like they're part of a sort of a big group. Yeah. And it's gone really, really well. Like, people have really got on board with it. The Belfry have been awesome. We've got Callaway, Ping, Adidas, Titleist, PGA, DP World Tour. They're all involved in supporting. I hope I haven't forgot somebody there, and I tend to when I'm doing these things.
We can add it in if you haven't.
We'll hopefully add it in.
Thank you to those people though.
Yeah, thank you to everyone that's doing it, because it's hard, because I mean, obviously you can make a great event if you charge people loads of money, because you just buy everything. Yeah. But I wanted it to be the cheapest junior tour going, round the best courses with good prizes. Yeah. So we've asked a lot off all the manufacturers, and they've all been just incredible.
That's good,
they give us so much stuff to make sure it's a nice prize table for the price point that doesn't look like we can afford it. Right? Yeah. So it's I've put quite a bit into it, and now it sort of ticks over nicely.
So it's packed here today for the final.
We're packed here. Should have said this is the British Junior British Masters.
Got you.
So I wanted that to be sort of a preceding event to the British Masters,
Which is in a couple of weeks.
Which is a couple of weeks' time. All these kids will be coming to watch.
Nice.
Last year, I dragged a group of them up and down the range, met a few of the players.
Oh, brilliant.
They were able to watch quite close.
So they're going to get to play the course that they're going to see the big guys play on in a couple of weeks' time. I did that.
Tore proper tee boards up, as you would see at a tour event, but slightly sort of scaled for the tees. And then they're doing all the staging work already, aren't they? The grandstands are going up, so the course is looking great. Yes, they get to see it in tournament format. So hopefully I would have loved that when I was younger.
Right.
I came to play here in a four ball event with a mate just in the winter, and that felt like I was playing a great course that had the Ryder Cup. Right, it was not even close to the right time, but now they're playing it 2 weeks before. So we go to loads and loads of great courses. So massive thank you to all the courses that don't charge us very much. Some let us have it for free. Right,
that's what you want to see though, that kind of community building around it. And is that what inspired you to do it? It's like, I'd love this as a kid.
Yeah,
and here's a great opportunity.
It's better than it's like a collection of all the junior opens you might play around the best courses, but you're playing them as part of a series, and you can
it's all contextualized. It's all linked up,
and you can play at any stage, so you don't have to have a handicap.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Jeez, brilliant. Well, and so we got that. You got the tour. Still doing your teaching, obviously.
Yeah, do bits of teaching.
Here and there?
Not too much. I'm doing one in a minute, actually.
I've got you in 10 minutes.
He'll be warming up. And then what else am I doing? My son's a keen footballer. He's signed for Chesterfield.
And you've had to learn football.
I've had to learn
Where are you
football.
at with that now?
Still pretty poor, I would say.
You
around
a team? You're just a Chesterfield fan?
I'm Chesterfield now.
Chesterfield.
Chesterfield, don't die, yeah. Yeah. I reckon I'm like a 20 handicap.
Oh, 20 handicap football IQ?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe worse.
Do you like football? It's okay, it's a safe space. It's a golf YouTube channel.
Yeah, no, I didn't used to get it, but now I starting to see the tactics behind it, and I'm starting to see that some footballers that I've met through golf, they use loads of golfing terminology when they're describing how they kick a ball. So
is that helping you?
I can do that, yeah.
Are you like picking out a footballer kicking a ball and getting your swing mechanic brain on and going?
Did that the other day with David on his free kicks, yeah.
Have you really?
Yeah, I did. I was like, why is that? What's that making that spin like that? Right, because your foot isn't flat, is it? Right. So I was trying to work that out.
You can't switch off, can you?
No. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting. But anyway, I'm enjoying it.
So with all of that, then, lastly, what do you think and what do you want your legacy in the game to be? Is it a greater sum of your playing career? Is it the stuff that you're going to be doing with your juniors the next, however long? What do you think your legacy, Robert Rock, will be in the game of golf?
Not bothered.
Not bothered?
Not bothered.
Just keep going.
People will make their own minds up, yeah. I'll be dead.
Nice cheery way to end. We've got the same stylist.
Hopefully my swing will be on YouTube for a while, so people can take that and use that as they please.
When we're all dead,
yeah,
even you watching, we'll still be watching.
My swing will be on YouTube, hopefully, yeah.
We'll all be dressed the same.
Don't delete it, yeah. We'll wear Adidas stuff.
We'll wear Adidas, black Adidas stuff in the beautiful heat. But Robert, thank you for joining us on Monthly Meets. Really appreciate it. All
Pleasure.
the best. Thank you.